How should influencers come up with their rates? That's a really subjective thing, and it comes down to realizing you are doing more than just posting to your audience. So there's a couple things you should keep in mind. Your audience is really, really important. You need to protect your audience at all costs. You shouldn't just be taking on any project because it's getting you money. We don't want to do that, because if we alienate our audience, we won't have an audience to represent to. So I only take on deals that I know will be a good fit for my audience. The one that I just signed on for with that major TV network, I know my audience is going to lose their minds over. It is exactly up their alley. So I took that on knowing they're going to respond really well to it. I may have things that pay me more, but it won't resonate with them as much. So I only take on projects I know will resonate with my audience. But that means I have a much more limited window for projects I can take on. So if I'm taking on less projects, I have the ability to raise my pricing. So the less you put out there, the higher you can be to reach my audience. That's a really helpful tip. So we're protecting our community. What is your community worth to you? Is it worth $50? Because that's probably not great. Is it worth $500? It's probably a little better. And it depends on your audience engagement too. So not your audience size, that's vanity metrics. You've got, however many thousand followers, that doesn't matter as much as who's engaging with you. So you're looking for an audience that has a really good connection with you and takes your advice. So when I represent, let's say, a book to my book community, because I'm a best-selling author, if I say, hey, this person has a new book out, it's a really good book, you should check it out, people take my word for that and they go buy that book. If, however, I didn't have an audience that ran to buy those books, that's not as much of a valuable audience. So we're looking for engagement rate. How many people are engaging? How many people are commenting and liking and sharing and saving? How many people are talking about me? How many people are taking my recommendations and following links that I give them? How many people are looking at my things that I'm doing in an affiliate commission way and buying those products that I'm talking about? That means I can charge more. When more people take my lead, I can charge more for that, because those people are then going to probably make sales. You also want to take into consideration how much work and effort goes into this. If you can film a video and it's going to take you a ton of time and effort to set up, to create everything, to deal with hair and makeup and wardrobe, if you're buying products as props for it, that means you're going to charge more. So the more that you're putting into this, the more you're charging for it. Now, do not let that distract you from the fact that some of you are going to be really highly qualified. I'm a really highly qualified person. I have been a professional photographer for well over a decade and a professional videographer for over a decade and a half. And so I've got really, really good qualifications. And that means I can film things very quickly. The commercial that I filmed today took me about 5 or 10 minutes in its entirety. That means getting ready, setting up, filming, editing, and then sending it off to the client. That is not something that someone who is newer would be able to do. That would take them more time. Because I spent so many years doing this, I'm much better and more qualified at filming and filming well and learning my lines and saying my lines really, really well. So then I can get things done quicker. But my experience means I can charge more because I can do the higher quality work in a faster turnaround time. So I can charge more. So there's no specific, here's how you get your community rates for your content rates for what you're doing. You can base it on your time and effort, which you absolutely should. Take that into consideration. What is the lowest dollar amount you're willing to take for an hour of work? Now figure out how long it's going to take you to create that video. That should be the lowest. Then remember, you're representing this to your community. So now you've accounted for creating the content, the money and time that you would spend creating your content. And you have to take into consideration the community that you've built up. So if you are representing this to your community, now you have to charge for their ability to then see and buy these things. Which means if you have a community that is going to make sales, you can charge more because you're representing it to them. So you're getting paid for creating the commercial, then you're getting paid for airing the commercial. So you got to think that through. You got to figure that out as you go to make sure you're covering your time and effort and really protecting your community. And again, the less you take on and say that you'll put out on your pages, the more you can charge for it, because now your time and effort is a premium. So if you've got a really good, strong audience, you have the ability to then be very, very judicial about what you're showing to them to protect them, so that you don't have a ton of like ads everywhere, because people don't like that. They're not going to stick around for that. And when you do take on something, it is highly qualified specifically for your audience, and you personally are representing this to them as a good option and choice for them. So there's a lot that goes into this, a lot of behind the scenes on how I make decisions. I turn down 90% of the offers that are made to me for my time and efforts. I get, people coming to me every single day asking me to represent their product or their services. I had, 5 different brand deals come to me overnight within an 11-hour period that I turned down earlier this week in just one day. And that was just one overnight setting. I am getting, 3 to 10 per day, and I'm turning most of those down because they're not a good fit for my audience, or it's not going to work for what I want inside of my community. So you got to be very, very clear, very, very specific on how you are doing these things. And then the more restrictive you are about what you'll take on, the more you can charge for it. And the more you do, the more you can upcharge. So here's a little tip for you. In the photography world, we say you shouldn't necessarily start at one rate and then wait till the next season to raise it dramatically. So if you're like a wedding photographer, we're going to do easy math. This is not actual pricing. Let's say you start at $1,000 and this summer you do a bunch of weddings at $1,000, and next summer you're going to raise it to $5,000. That's a really big jump. So the bridesmaid that you were shooting a wedding for, who is now getting married the next summer, wants to hire you, but that's a $4,000 difference. So instead of doing that, we're doing it little by little. So do one wedding, and then the next wedding, raise it $100 or $200. It's not a significant jump. And then the next wedding, you're going to raise it another $100 or $200. This way we're easing up. So as you continue to grow and continue to create that content for people, you're raising your pricing slightly. So it's not a huge shock next time you jump in to do something like this. With influencing, you can do that as well. So if you kind of watch from my career, these are not my actual numbers, but let's just say I started out at charging $100 per TikTok video that I was doing. For easy math, I would then do maybe 5 or 6 people's TikTok videos, the sponsored deals, at $100, and then I would raise it $25, or I would raise it $50, so that when the next person comes to me, instead of being $100, it's $125, and I do 3 or 4 at $125. Then I would raise it a little bit more, and you can do it in small increments: $10, $25, $50, $100 if you're a big ticket person. That way it's still manageable and it's still within expectations to people. So if I get a referral from one of my clients, they bring a friend over, that friend is not shocked when I am $700 more expensive. So we ease up as we do that. So as you grow with your influencing life, you have the ability to ease up your pricing to get to where you want to be as well. So as you invest more time, more equipment, more education, more work and effort, as you get better at doing this, we're raising our prices to be more industry standard.